Today on Built to Last, getting from here to there.
We get about 150,000 drivers daily.
Lighting the lakefront.
The wattage in itself, definitely millions of watts.
And building quality homes.
We have found the union world is where we want to be.
Put on your hard hat. It's time for Built to Last.
Built to Last is brought to you by the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters Labor and Management Committee and Armstrong Ceilings. Faster, easier, better.
Welcome to Built to Last. I'm Monica Pedersen.
And I'm Mark Nilsson. We're here at the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters Apprenticeship and Training Center, where members learn the various skills that are part of their trade.
These skills play an important role in maintaining the state's infrastructure, which keeps the land of Lincoln's economic engine running.
The Illinois Tollway Authority runs the tolling road here in the state of Illinois. We have 294 miles of toll road.
Interstate 294 is by far the most important corridor for us from a traffic perspective, not just traffic, but commercial vehicle traffic.
So this particular road, the Central Tri-State, is part of the Move Illinois program, and that's a $14 billion program.
And you think about 22 miles of the most congested parts of our system in a very urbanized area that's fully developed.
As far as the mile-long bridge, we get about 150,000 drivers daily. So that's a lot of traffic.
This is one of the last of the original segments, the Illinois Tollway, that dated back to the 1950s.
The bridge redevelopment work is vital for state and local commerce to increase capacity, reduce congestion, and improve travel reliability.
One thing we always talk about, and it's an agenda item in our pre-construction meetings, is workmanship.
We can do all we want on a planning perspective and design, but that means nothing if there's not people to actually deliver and build a project.
We've got the tollway who needs to get the jobs done. We've got our contractors that do the jobs, and we've got our members that provide that.
We had labor leaders to sit on our board. Not only do they hold us accountable for really delivering work on time and on budget, but they also hold us accountable to make sure that we're meeting the requirements that we're supposed to meet on the workforce side of the house.
The tollway says, hey, I need to build a mile-long bridge. And they look around at contractors and they pick Passion, and Passion says, I can build your bridge. And Passion turns around and says, well, I'm gonna need some carpenters and laborers and iron workers and operators and tradesmen, you know, we need all this and that, and that's where we come in.
Right from the get-go, when we were awarded the project, you know, we start working on schedule and submittals and signing up all of our subcontractors.
We want diversity participation. So out of the $370 million that we're investing into both structures, $70 million is going to small and diverse businesses.
The tollway specifically has a construction works program, which we were heavily involved with.
We can set goals for not only DB and WE firms, but also veteran-owned businesses.
If you're a subcontractor just entering the arena, it affords a person an opportunity to grow.
These are individuals that have historically not had an opportunity to work on projects like this.
It's going to create an enormous amount of jobs. It's going to keep people in the Chicagoland area working. It's keeping businesses moving.
We really appreciate the relationship that we have with FH Passion.
Passion has a long history of building bridges, and it was really neat that we were able to get this one.
First thing we had to do was really set the footprint of where the bridge can go, looking at shifts to the east and to the west.
The bridge was not really built on tollway land. It was a lot of easements.
So this is a major project, and it's very unusual in that most bridges really cross a river or a set of tracks. We cross everything.
There's 3 waterways, including the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal, which has barge traffic on it.
Over a couple BNSF rail yards. Working in rail yards, the safety aspects that are needed and required for that.
They're making very large connections with UPS. This is one of their largest intermodal facilities here.
We want to make sure also that we're addressing the community concerns. Construction has impacts on communities. The challenge is always, how do we continue to maintain the same number of lanes during construction as there are prior to construction?
The new bridge is wider than the other one, and it's built alongside the existing structure so the tollway's traffic can still flow.
We will be converting the northbound existing traffic onto the new northbound bridge. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna close down that existing old northbound bridge.
What that is going to allow us to do is tear down the existing northbound bridge and build a new southbound bridge.
We do move very fast out here, and they have been. You can see in 14 months how much they've been able to accomplish. It's kind of mind-blowing some days.
Our carpenters, just stepped up big time, from our superintendents to, some very skilled carpenter foremen who led crews to really just do a fantastic job.
You can see it when you walk up on the bridge and just take a look around that they've really performed well.
Really, it's kind of a huge tree, right, where you have the tollway, Passion, and our direct labor force, all of our subcontractors, and all the men and women who are part of all those crews that came together to deliver this project was pretty impressive and pretty fun to be a part of.
We're trying to provide a source of labor for that tollway that, is second to none.
At Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions, we take great pride in making a positive difference in the lives of people, with the broadest portfolio in the industry and the technical performance to back it up. You can design and install with confidence. Our ceiling construction expertise, training, and pre-engineered ceiling solutions make it easy for you to seamlessly transition from one end of the building to the other, such as prefabricated soffit framing, the faster, easier, better way to build. Simple Soffit by Armstrong.
Want a great career? Join the Carpenters Union and be part of the next generation building our communities. With the Carpenters Union Career Connections program, high school students get a head start on the industry's leading curriculum. Learn the latest in construction technology and the many skilled crafts the Carpenters Union represents. Plus, earn as you learn. Receive a nice paycheck, health insurance benefits, and best of all, no college debt. Ask your school district to participate in the Career Connections program and get started on your future.
From bridges and trains to iconic high-rises, have you ever wondered who's powering Chicago? Unlike our sports heroes, they go unnoticed. Yet they proudly keep our businesses, homes, and great city running. IBEW Local 134 electricians and the electrical contractors have the experience, training, and reliability to keep Chicago open for business.
The mile-long bridge is a critical stretch of the Tri-State Tollway, carrying cars and trucks over 2 railroads, 3 waterways, and several industrial hubs. Thanks to highly trained union carpenters and pile drivers, its expansion will meet the highest quality standards to ensure everyone's safety.
One of our directors runs the carpenters.
He was able to bring that to our attention.
So the support that we get from them, it's priceless.
It's nice that we have our Executive Secretary Treasurer, Gary Perrinar, on that board, but it's also about accountability. They're going to look at him if there's a problem, so we have to do our part. And that's a lot of why the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters trains our members.
To get young carpenters coming out of that apprenticeship program, especially if you can keep them within your company and get them their further training as they continue to progress, is very important.
And not just in the mechanical, but in our leadership training, communication skills. We're trying to provide a source of labor for that tollway that is second to none.
Our carpenters are highly trained to work efficiently and safely.
This is a group of individuals that are true professionals that know how to get work done, all right, and they know how to get work done on time and on budget.
So we started work on the construction side in July of 2019.
There's 26 piers that we were going to need to start building. So we started in between the Des Plaines River and the sanitary canal and just headed north.
That started with pile drivers, our UBC members right there, driving pile down to bedrock to build a foundation.
It was Stallworth drilling out, and then Passion's crews coming behind, framing and pouring the columns, and then getting up into the pier caps.
Around February, we started hauling in the beams for this job and erecting the beams.
You have beams that were 180 to 200 feet long, and they're spaced 7 to 8 feet apart roughly. So you have to fill those voids in with formwork so you're able to pour a concrete bridge deck.
At this point, the carpenters have to determine the pitch on the deck between the beams. There's steps in there as it goes. So now the beams are going to be at little different elevations. It's one thing to be a good mechanic. It's one thing to say, hey, I can frame this bridge deck. I can frame this. I know how to put 2x4s, 4x4s. I can put plywood down. I got this. It's a whole nother thing to do it 40, 50 feet in the air.
It does take a special type of individual to work at those heights. Obviously, safety was a humongous part of all this.
It's a paramount to the Carpenters Union to make sure our members come home safe. And the contractors, the tollway, everybody's looking for that.
You have your D-ring up in the middle of the back.
One of the important things that we have in the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters is we have our own safety department. Those guys are aces. If our contractor has a question about safety, they'll come out and help them do an audit to make things safe.
We had 30-plus bridge deck pours that were all completed within a time frame of roughly around 6 months.
We do pay a lot of attention to smoothness. We overpour these decks by about 1/4 of an inch and then come through with a diamond grinding machine.
When you come off of land onto a bridge deck, you have an approach. And the approach is that segment of concrete where you're on solid land, and then over here you're 40, 50 feet in the air.
Whenever you can ride over and even just transition from the pavement onto the bridge and you don't even realize that you're doing that, it's a big accomplishment. We have definitely built the tollway and the public a safe, strong structure.
We had our last deck pour probably about a month ago now, and we've been working on forming and pouring the parapets, which are the barrier walls along the outside of the bridge.
The tollway historically has always delivered projects on time and on budget.
We are on set to deliver the full 294 project by the end of 2026.
We're adding 2 lanes. Currently it has 4. So that's also really going to help us relieve the congestion that takes place there.
When you see people driving on it, that's just a huge accomplishment because we know what it took from the ground up to actually deliver a project like this.
And at the end of the day, these are 2 structures that are going to be around for decades.
Up to 150,000 cars and trucks travel the length of the mile-long bridge each day. Add all those miles up, and it equals more than 6 times around the Earth.
Neon lighting took off, and it took off right from here. There's said to be that there's over 8 miles of neon on the facades and the fronts of all that.
Keeping restaurants and hotels up to date with the latest design trends is a constant challenge. Finding qualified contractors isn't at finishingchicago.com. We work with top designers and general contractors who use the latest painting, drywall finishing, and wall covering techniques in Chicagoland's premier hotels and restaurants. The hospitality industry relies on finishingchicago.com as its free resource to find quality finishing contractors. For a great finish, start with finishingchicago.com.
24/7, IBEW Local 9 linemen are there protecting you and your family. From the moment you wake up with a power in your home, on your way to work, lighting the way and easing congestion, plus keeping you safe with traffic lights and cameras. So the next time you're at a stoplight, pass under a power line, or just pull into your brightly lit neighborhood, think of your friends at IBEW Local 9. We'll continue to light the way for you. Meet us online at IBEW9.org.
Got a commercial, industrial, or healthcare construction project? Use a professional Flooring Installers Association install certified contractor.
Flooring must be skillfully installed so it looks great and lasts.
PFIA skilled union installers receive industry-leading training, including ICRA, to deliver quality and safety with any flooring product.
PFIA contractors are the single source for all of your flooring needs.
Flooring done right. The Professional Flooring Installers Association.
From culture to commerce, the shore of Lake Michigan has played a key role in Chicago since the city's founding. IBEW Local 134 and the electrical contractors recognize this as an area for growth and have been linked to the lakefront exposition areas ever since.
Marin Electric was purchased by my grandfather and great uncle from their employer in 1926.
The 1920s was such a weird pocket there. So we had all of our veterans coming back from World War I, my grandfather being one of them.
You had Prohibition, you had the beer wars, you had the gangsters, Capone, Bugs Moran.
In response, the city decided to show a better face by staging an extravaganza of science and technology.
But then when we had the Great Depression, that just rocked everything.
The 1933 World's Fair would have to find private financing.
The president of Local 134 at the time, Mr. Sullivan, was also the president of the Chicago Building Trades. He actually created the first project labor agreement.
The fair was made a union site.
There was over 20,000 jobs created. It had to be in the area of 2,500 to 2,600 electricians.
The site, 3.5 miles of underdeveloped landfill between 39th Street and 12th Street. Electricians laid an infrastructure that could handle whatever the future might throw at it.
I believe there's like 4 or 5 substations that fed the World's Fair. The wattage in itself, it's millions, definitely millions of watts. And then we had that Skyride. The assembly of that Skyride took 1,600 jobs to do that. Conjunction with iron workers and such, that's all motor driven.
A lot of the building, materials, the lighting, everything was different and new.
This is all about lighting.
In 1932, the patent on neon lighting expired.
Neon lighting took off, and it took off right from here. There's said to be that there's over 8 miles of neon on the facades and the fronts of all that.
Besides neon, the fair showcased new techniques in recessed architectural lighting.
Every night they'd have up to 10,000 people watching the lighting get turned on, and it was like the big spectacle.
No matter when you visited, there were wonders wherever you looked. High-minded attendees could witness the latest in science and technology in dedicated pavilions, many of which were built and sponsored by manufacturers.
The 1933 World's Fair, in essence, kicked off Chicago as becoming the World Trade Convention Center, the Mecca of the world.
And that brings the need for hotels to be built, restaurants to be built, and a bunch of other things to accommodate the visitors that come to our city.
By the mid-50s, the city decided to keep the tourist and money growing by taking it indoors all year round.
They started building McCormick Place in 1958. It became reality in 1960.
As a kid, McCormick Place was the place I went to see the auto show.
The site was so popular, it had to expand.
I just absolutely appreciate the trades that made that happen. It's a complex area to work, especially when we built the west expansion crossing over the highway.
And it continues to grow.
We were approached by Clark Construction when the 1.5 million square feet of expansion for, the exhibit halls. Just the way they designed the building with over 3,000 amp substations. Their floor port system was absolutely amazing. Clearly building it provided years and years of work for a large quantity of contractors. But once built, the shows utilize electrical union labor to set up the shows. Depending on the complexity of a booth or an installation, it may take, a dozen electricians for several days. Besides the 300 to 400 electricians that can report there on a monthly basis for various work assignments for various trade shows, there's consistently work being done to maintain the building and upgrades being done. And I think it's a source of pride for our company to have worked on the project. There's a beautiful building there that can handle virtually any convention that comes its way. It is so impressive. And McCormick Place and several other buildings on our skyline should be a great source of pride for Local 134 and the NECA contractors, because they are works of art.
I was so passionate about what would be the perfect place for my mom.
When you have a plumbing emergency, you want it fixed fast and done right. Plumbers 911 connects you with a highly experienced plumber in 5 minutes or less. That's our 5-minute promise. All our plumbers are highly trained, background checked, licensed, and insured, so your job will be done right the first time. Our phones are open 24/7 to solve your plumbing problem day or night. Call 1-833-PLUM-911. Plumbers 911, your plumbing connection.
We are DeWalt. We're the ones who grind it out. The ones using materials from all over the world to build the things that build America, right here in America. And there's no place we'd rather be. Land of the free, tools of the brave.
This is a team. It's made up of different players, positions, skills, talented, sure, but on their own? Because every team needs a coach, someone who makes things work together. That's how Lesset works. We're coaches in the construction industry, bringing together laborers and management, unions and contractor associations. Our work leads to safer, stronger construction, which is a win for us all.
Union carpenters are the best trained in every aspect of residential construction, and their expertise is unmatched. That's why a husband and wife development team chose union contractors and carpenters for a housing project that includes a resident who is very special to them.
Purchasing a new home is a family's most important financial decision. By using union carpenters and contractors, they will make sure they get the best return on their investment.
And that reliance on quality assurance and safety extends all the way to when families are even deciding upon housing for seniors. In one case, a builder took it one step further to make sure union quality helped build the perfect dwelling for both theirs and others' loved ones.
My mom was diagnosed with pre-dementia. I was her caretaker for many years, and the facility that I had to look for was not only just assisted living, but a smooth transition into memory care.
And we didn't really find anything that we really liked. So
it was at the kitchen table, and it was one piece of paper after another.
Started drawing up what we thought would be a good facility.
It helped me decide what I wanted in it,
that we wanted to have for my mother-in-law,
and what I didn't want in it.
And we put it all together, and we started down that path.
I was so passionate about what would be the perfect place for my mom. That is actually being built right now as we speak in Madison, Illinois.
Building is building, the process is the process. It's just different processes depending on the building that you're building. It was easier for me because of my residential building, but it was a challenge because I didn't understand exactly how to put it together.
We are the general contractor. Through our experience, there are certain things you need for senior housing that are obviously important.
We had to make sure that all the door openings are wide enough to accommodate a wheelchair.
Bigger entry doors for ADA compliance, 6 and 8 feet hallways. You have to take that in account when you're installing walls to make sure you have that. If you don't, you're going to run into problems later down the road.
Make sure that they could go into the bathroom with the wheelchair, they could bathe with the wheelchair.
All the bathrooms have to be equipped with grab bars, so there's a lot of blocking in the walls that we have to make sure are in there, because after the drywall goes on, they have to be attached. So when HUD comes in and they approve it, they measure all that.
And then also sit at the kitchen table. So we had to have several different heights of countertops, and then also different cutouts underneath the kitchen sink and underneath the bathroom sinks and the vanities, so people could wheel their wheelchair in there.
We are primarily a construction manager, and we are only as good as the people that are working in the project. And we have found the union world is where we want to be.
That wasn't even a discussion with us. We wanted to be union. We chose Eaton Construction as our union carpenter, and we're absolutely, completely satisfied with them.
It's speed. You got to get it done fast, but you got to do it right. So they put these panels together, they bring them in, they nail them together, and it's magic.
Here at Eaton, we're in our panel plant. I'm very proud of the fact that we stayed union. I've been a union carpenter for 26 years and started off in residential. That's my background, that's what I enjoy. I love wood. We can build wall panels in a controlled environment and put out a quality product.
The whole panelized system is fantastic because it's the less labor out in the field. And when the walls are being built, they're being built at about chest height for the guys in the shop. It's zero bending down as opposed to conventional stick framing. So even in the shop, it's better on them. When we get out here, everything as you see is craned in. So as little labor as possible, that's our goal, which saves on our bodies.
One of the biggest pros is obviously being in a building where you can control the environment. So when they're off with the cold days or too much snow or too much ice, we never stop in here. It's full go every day of the week. It also takes care of a safety issue.
You don't have to worry about lifting the walls out here by hand, not bending over, standing them up, slipping off of the side of the deck. If a wall comes loose when you're lifting it, it takes the toll off of your body, which is tremendous.
What we liked about them more than anybody is they actually installed windows actually at their shop.
When the walls come out, they do have the windows in them, the sheeting's on there, and it's really helped that schedule out a lot, just to really push that to get to their end date on time. I mean, we've done homes where the neighbor they've left for work, and when they come home, there's a house next door, and you just see the look on their face. It's great.
All of a sudden, the building shows, comes together, and you don't do that if you don't have skilled labor.
It is a labor of love. When we walk in the building, they're like, hey, Tony, hey, Kelly, how you guys doing? Hey, look at this. They're so willing to show us what they've accomplished. So there's such pride in their work.
Right, I mean, you gotta make a ring around it.
They know how passionate we are about it, and they've come along for the ride. We're so proud of what everyone's doing inside that building because they're making our dreams come true.
That's all for this episode of Built to Last. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Hey, Monica, why are carpenters so efficient at building stairs?
I don't know why.
Because they're always thinking one step ahead.
We'll see you next time. I like it.
That was pretty good.